Hello, I'm Demara and I am a transformation coach, consultant, speaker, and teacher. And I love what I do. Today, I want to put a cap on the trainings I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, finishing up with the 4 agreements. And so we've already done be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions. And now the 4th agreement is what we're working with today. And the 4th agreement is always do your best. Always do your best. So I wanted to share just a little bit from the book because I like reading directly from his book. So about this 4th agreement, the author says, this particular agreement is the one that allows the other 3 to become deeply ingrained habits. Always do your best, right? So under any circumstance, author says, always do your best, no matter whether it's more or less. And there's going to be moments where your best is going to be great, and then other moments where your best is not going to be so great. You know, the times when we're not feeling well or have had a challenging day, we might not be doing our best in that moment. But in that moment, we're doing the best that we can. And other times, especially if we're doing this work to improve this, then we're more on par with it and we are feeling better about the way that we're doing our best. So it's important to not be too hard on ourselves. If this is a journey that you're wanting to take with your life and improving it in this way, then know that there's going to be ups and downs and that it's a more than less game, meaning you have more days over time that you're really doing your best and feeling that, and less days when you're doing your best and not feeling so great about it. So it's a more than less game. So I wanted to share the story that is in the book that he tells, which I think is a really good illustration of one aspect of always do your best. And this is a story about a man who is looking to transcend suffering. You know, he's really feeling this is an important thing for him, is to really go above and get beyond suffering. And so he goes to find a master. So he goes to a Buddhist temple and he meets with the master and he says, Master, if I were to meditate 4 hours a day, how long would it take me to transcend suffering? And the master looks at him and he says, if you meditate 4 times a day, 4 hours a day, you would probably transcend within maybe 10 years. And so the man gets kind of excited and he says, Master, if I were to meditate for 8 hours a day, how long would it take me to transcend suffering? And the master looks at him again very compassionately and says, if you were to meditate for 8 hours a day, you would transcend probably in 20 years. And the man looks a little confused at the master and he says, why would it take longer? And the master says, if you were to meditate for 8 hours a day, that means you're not living life. You're not happy. You're not living with love in your life, by and large. Most people with that kind of rigor are not able to sustain that, and they end up sacrificing joy in their lives. And so they're not going to make the progress that they want to. And I think that's significant to remember that we're here to feel joy. We're here to feel love. We're here to live. And part of living is absolutely the connection with that infinite energy that many of us call God and lots of other names, but it's all the same. And so sometimes we are like overachieving, right? We want to do this faster, and it really is about progress and not perfection. And I've mentioned that in my videos before. We're not supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to be progressing. And so it's important to remember that. And, you know, I sort of think of this in terms too of when I think of like when people, particularly at the beginning of the year, and there's this New Year's resolutions everyone's got, and not everyone, but many have New Year's resolutions. They want to work out 5 or 6 times a week and not miss a day, and do that for at least 6 months, and then you can feel really good about yourself. And then for most people, by the time it's mid-February, they've lost the battle. They've gone back to their normal pattern. And it's not because there's anything wrong with them. It's this idea that we're trying to force something. This man with the Buddhist master, he's trying to force something to happen. I want to transcend suffering, and I want to do it quick, is essentially what he's asking for. And the master is saying it's counterproductive to do that for most of us. And so, that's the same thing when we're trying to use our will to force something to happen. No, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it every day, and then I'm going to be happy. And that's not really using our will, that's using our willpower. And we just don't have the capacities to sustain that kind of force energy. Instead, we work with our system, because when we're trying to make a change, the man who wants to transcend suffering, that's an extreme change potentially. And our system doesn't do generally very well in forced situations. So instead, we come to it from a place of, I want to allow this to happen. I want to make this welcome for me to make this change that will be so much better for me. And I'll be living life much more fulfilled, or however you might state it. So we make it welcome. How do we do that? We take the steps that we can take, and we take a look at what barriers are we putting up that are keeping me from achieving what it is I want to achieve? How can I be more allowing? How can I keep taking the steps that I want to take and allow things to happen rather than trying to force them? So that's true for always doing your best. You can more and more be aware of always doing your best. How am I doing with this today, in this moment? Well, I've done pretty well today. Great. All right. I had my ups and downs, but by and large, I did better today. Or maybe there's a day when we notice, oh, I didn't do very well today. I didn't feel well, because if we're sick, we don't have the same capacity for doing our best. Or, lots of other life situations that can come about that cause us to not always be doing our best. But know that if we have a desire to do our best, that we will get better at it. We'll be better at achieving that more than less. And that's the goal. And so with always be your best helps us actually achieve using the other 3 agreements more effectively. We are more aware of our words. It helps us be aware. If I'm trying to always do my best, then I'm more aware of the language I use and how it impacts other people or myself. I will become more aware of noticing, when I'm starting to take something personally. And I can stop and check myself more and more often. When I'm starting to make an assumption about something that I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but I've got a story I've made up. You get better and better at that when you always do your best, more and more. I hope that makes sense and you have something you can work with. It's been so great to be able to share with you some thoughts and insights around the 4 agreements. And I highly recommend really studying that book. And reach out if you are interested in taking the class the next time Beth and I offer it, or studying in some other ways with me. So my email is below, and I would love to help you in whatever way. Let's set up a time to chat. My gift to you. All right. And for you, and these 4 agreements on how to live life daily in a much better way, a more whole way. I wish you wonderful joy on that journey. So until the next video, bye for now.